ThaBoxingvoice.com here with the WBC lightweight champ of the world, Devin Haney. What's up, champ?
What's up with it?
We're now what, 10 days out? 10 days out from fight.
Yeah, 10 days.
Things kind of changed up a little bit for you because you was elevated to the champ from the interim, so there was a little delay on your opponent. But nonetheless, you here getting ready. Talk to us about just being able to get in 40. We was just saying 43 days from your last fight to when you're gonna step in the ring come next Saturday night.
I mean, it's a blessing, you know. When I first came to Eddie and we was negotiating, I told him that I wanted to, stay busy. I wanted to, be back in the ring as soon as possible. And so, with my last performance, I was able to, get him out early. So that makes it to where I was able to get back in the ring 43 days. It's great, and I'm looking forward to it.
We don't really see fighters stay too active. Your first fight, May 25th, under the Matchroom banner. Then you go September the 13th. That's only a 3.5 month turnaround. You don't really see fighters at your level at the top, really go that often. You have a lot of fights to be a young fighter. The only other world champ at the top of my head I could think of that probably had a comparable number of fights was Canelo, because he started his career fairly young. Do you really plan to keep this tempo moving forward?
Yeah, well, it's no possible way that I could keep this tempo. In 2020, I'm looking to make the biggest fights possible. So of course, my body needs to rest. After this fight, I'm gonna let my body rest and take a break and just let everything heal. Because training camp has been intense. Back to back with the fights and everything like that. But 2020, I want to make the biggest fights happen as possible. So maybe I may fight 2 to 3 times next year.
Now, at the WBC convention in Cancun, obviously that's when you were elevated to champ, as they chose to give this franchise status to Vasyl Lomachenko. At the convention, they came out with the rankings. Two-time world champ Gervonta Davis is WBC #1. He's a mandatory to fight you. Talk to us about making that.
No,
fight.
you would just mess with me, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Just talk to us about making that possible matchup happen. I mean, 2 of the biggest young names in the sport, and I know you guys have got some sparring in the past. Is that a fight that you think should happen now, or maybe a little bit down the line to optimize the financial opportunity for that?
I mean, like I said, I'm willing to fight, the best. I'm willing to fight, the top names. So if that's a fight that can happen now, then I would want to make it happen.
Now, with you being elevated to world champ, a lot of, like you said in the past, a lot of people claim that you are easy pickings. If that's the case, why is it that none of the top 15 fighters in the WBC rankings have called to fill in that slot come November 9th?
I mean, like same thing you said, November 9th, we've been looking from, for an opponent from 1 to 15, and I think we probably got number 15, or something like that. I've been, calling out all these guys to fight. They may do an interview, they may say this and that, but in reality, they don't want to make that fight happen.
That being said, what do you think is going to have to take? Because, I mean, there's only so much you can do. For example, you did everything you were supposed to put yourself in a mandatory position with Lomachenko. His team requested that franchise status. So you're doing everything you can to put yourself in the biggest fights. What needs to happen in order for them to, in order for you to get those big fights?
Honestly, I really don't know what needs to happen, because I thought that me becoming world champion, that would make it happen. That guys would be hungry for the title. But then again, you can look at a guy like Gary Russell, where he had a world title he's one of the longest reigning world champions, today, and nobody still really wants to fight him. So I don't really know what has to happen, but like I said, I'm ready for the top guys. I want to make the biggest fights happen, and yeah.
I was just speaking with your dad. At least in America, it almost seemed like controversy sells. It almost seems like people pay to see the bad guy. Do you feel that, like, trash talking and, like, basically talking shit to other fighters and calling fighters out in a negative manner. Do you feel like that's what it's gonna have to take? I mean, we saw with Floyd to where he was able to do it strategically and you know, not just get the biggest fights but optimize his earnings.
Yeah, I mean that's what it seems like. You know, the bad guy is the one that's, you know, that ends up winning in the long run. But at the end of the day, you know, I always want to be myself, and I never want to get out of character. You know, I want to stay true to myself, and you know, the fans and the people there, they appreciate that. So, you know, I would never try to be something that I'm not.
To your fans listening and watching, November 9th, what do you say to those fans excited to watch you make your first title defense?
You know, tune in. I'm gonna put on another great performance. You know, this is history. I'll be the youngest, you know, fighter to ever make a title defense. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for it. You know, I'm gonna put on another dominating performance. So just tune in.
And to the WBC fighters ranked number 1 through 15, what do you say to those guys who you supposed to want to become world champion, right? That's the whole dream in boxing, is to become a world champion, right?
You know, if they want to get their shot, you know, then you know, let's make it happen. You know, it was a guy who I was supposed to fight, and he said something about he couldn't make weight or something like that, and all these crazy excuses to not fight. But you know, fighting for a world title is a once in a lifetime chance, and I feel like, you know, if that's what you wanted, if that's what you want, you know, you should go for it.
Thank you very much for your time, champ. Appreciate you.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive, from Border Wars, from title, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.